Welcome to the Baron's Hideout Podcast. I'm your host, Dustin.
And I'm your co-host, Aaron.
And we are back once again in person. This is still on the 4th of July. We are pre-recording this.
No, we're not. This is totally live.
And today we are going to be covering Sleepaway Camp. And as you can see right here, I have a pretty rare it's a box set of the first three Sleepaway Camp movies. And Felissa Rose actually signed it for me, for us, when we went to ScareCon. What was that? Freaking 3 years ago?
Two, I think.
Framingham?
Yeah.
And she was there, and dude, she was the sweetest, person there. Some liquid death over here. Yeah, so we caught her as she was, I think, setting up, before anybody was there, and she signed that for us, and she was like, wow, this is, super rare. I don't think I've seen that really anywhere. And I picked this thing up at FYE. It says it was used, but when I got it, it wasn't used. It was still fully sealed, so I think someone bought it and then returned it. I don't know why they would have done that, but I'm very glad I have that. And I'm glad that we had her there for her to sign it for us. And we have pictures somewhere of the interaction, but yeah, she was super sweet. Is there anything you would like to talk about before we get into socials?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was a fun time meeting her. You know,
Yeah.
like you said, she was the sweetest person ever.
and she didn't charge us for anything. You know?
Oh, yeah.
It was, she just signed it.
You go
Everybody
booth to
else.
booth, everyone's charging $50 for an autograph or something like that. But she got there early and was just she was still setting up, and we walked up to her and she was the nicest person.
Yeah, she was super chill and down to earth. But I would like to meet her again eventually when we actually can go to conventions. There are horror conventions, but none of them around us until later this year for Salem Horror Fest, and that is definitely something we're going to be covering. I'm going to make sure I'm getting pretty much all the days off of work. I know Aaron is a super busy dude, and I will probably be trying to do as much coverage on that as possible, probably on my Dustin's Thoughts episodes that we have out now. We only have one episode, and it's pretty much just me giving my thoughts on newer things that are coming out that Aaron isn't able to catch up on immediately. So when new things drop, like the new Fear Street 1994 that came out on last Friday, I did my first Dustin's Thoughts on that. And I will be doing, if it's not out already because this is pre-recorded, the Fear Street 1978, I believe is what it is. So that would be the next one that's coming out. And we're also putting out a ton more bonus content. We're trying is a keyword here. We're trying to do at least one other movie review or trailer reaction or something throughout the week to give you guys a little bit more content instead of just one a week. And we hope that you guys are enjoying everything we're trying to do right now. It's slow, and we're still learning, and we're still getting better even on the main show here with us together. And it's great to be together
So
and
much
not
easier.
over
Zoom. Yeah.
It's surreal. It's very surreal because we've been doing it for so long, since March.
Yeah.
And we're both fully vaccinated now, and we hope everybody else out there is getting their shots if you haven't got them already, so we can all be together. And maybe we can do one of these shows live somewhere, and get some actual questions from the crowd and get some really good crowd participation. I think that'd be really cool. That's definitely a goal we would like to do within the next probably year or so. And then I think we can move on to socials. I don't think I'm missing anything else, right? Covered out all the new episodes that will be coming out.
Our merch line now on Teespring.
Yep.
We mention that each episode, but we do have just about anything you can think of with our designs on them. We got the design with my beautiful face, and then you got us too.
Yeah, with the what the fuck is going on?
What the fuck is going on?
We were saying that a lot, prior to making that shirt, and now I don't think we're saying it as much. But
We'll have to
who
include
knows?
it.
Maybe we'll say it during this episode because there is some shit that's going on in here, and when you're like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yep. Oh, definitely.
I also added our actual podcast logo over there now, so it's
Oh,
on
yeah.
everything.
The
So
pumpkin, right?
yep.
Yeah.
I want to get some more designs done. I have some really cool ideas in my head that I need to talk to the guy who's actually doing a lot of branding for us right now to get done for the spin-off. Well, I'm going to call it spin-off, but it's not really. It's just a mini-series. The Dustin's Thoughts. I want a cool design for that one. And some other really cool stuff for some t-shirts. I want to get like a glow-in-the-dark design. I don't want to spoil it right now, and just in case if we can get it, I told you about that one.
Yeah.
Other than the t-shirts, you guys can find us on Instagram, where I'm trying to be the most active on, and Aaron's also on Instagram, and you can find us there with the BHO_podcast. And Aaron, you can tell them where they can find you on Instagram.
You can find me on Instagram at arow. That's AROWEBHO. I post updates on the podcast, and like I said before, the occasional animal photo. So follow me there.
Yes, and you can also find us on Twitter, which is also the BHO_podcast. Actually, no, I lied, guys. Instagram is the Baron's Hideout_podcast.
Oh yeah, and just
I always get those mixed up.
Twitter's
That's the one that I haven't changed over to everything else, because all of our other socials that you want to find us, other than Patreon and Teespring, is the BHO_podcast, and that's on Twitter and on TikTok, and on. If you guys want to support us, you guys can go over to the Patreon, where we're going to be trying to add some more merch options for you guys that we already have on our Teespring, and hopefully give you guys some free stuff if you are supporting us for 3 months or more, because I would like to do it if you guys are supported for 1 month, but Patreon only allows you to do it if you're there for like 3 months, which is okay. You guys can go support us there for even just like $1. And we put out all of our content over there earlier than anywhere else. That's included with all the bonus episodes. But I think that's probably it for social talk and plugs. Anything else that I'm missing?
I don't think so. We are sponsored by Anchor.
We are, and those will always be the very first thing you guys hear in all the episodes. I feel like we should probably every couple of weeks redo how we talk.
Yeah.
For that sponsorship, so it's not so
it's
dry.
fresh, yeah.
But we are trying to work on some Liquid Death. So if Liquid Death is out there and they want to come and sponsor a little horror podcast that loves horror and loves their product, and we buy their shit all the time, and they just had their promo last week for the 4th of July where everything was like 40% off. So I got a couple stuff on there, and their new movie that will be coming out. When you guys hear this, it would be, I think, Sunday, the 11th, which is Dead Till Death. So make sure you guys get a ticket for that. Once again, we're not sponsored by them, but if it happens,
it happens.
It happens, and I will be happy. I will love some Liquid Death.
Murder your thirst. I'm Liquid Death.
Death to plastic. But now we will jump into Sleepaway Camp.
Ooh.
And Aaron, you can start us off.
All right. So we start off with our opening credits, and you got a camp that's been shut down, and it is going by the name of Camp Arawak or Arawak.
Yeah, I think I pronounce it Arawak.
Arawak.
I think
Okay.
that'd probably be
That
the
sounds
best
better.
way.
Yeah. But so it opens up in the summer of 1975, and you got a family. They're out, on a lake, near the summer camp, or presumably that summer camp, in upstate New York. So again, we're in New England.
Everything is in New England. Don't you love living here?
I know, right? You got a family. They're on the boat, and these two little kids decide to be little pranksters and knock over the boat, and they flip it over, and John, who is the father, they just start to head towards the water, back to the shore, where his wife or lover or whatever you want to call her, she's calling to him, and they're swimming back, and then you got a couple of teenagers, who are
always teenagers.
always, Damn
Always
kids.
teenagers.
Who are going water skiing. So they got a little motorboat. They got one person who's in the back. But they're trying to yell at each other. They don't understand
No,
what they're
it's
saying.
literally impossible. Like,
You got the motor going, the
and
water splashing.
and the other thing is, like, the girl who's doing like the skiing and everything. Like, if she's that afraid, why doesn't she just let go of the rope? I mean, you're
Yeah.
just gonna land in the water. You're not really gonna get hurt that much.
Mm-hmm.
Like the boat's in front of you, where it's gonna like completely screw you up. So I don't know. That's just my thought on that. I would probably just let go, to be honest, if that was me.
Yeah. So, but anyways, the girl is in the back. She's petrified. Like you said, just let go. But and yeah. I guess they're going to like the two in the front. They're trying to switch so she can drive the boat, but they're not paying attention. And there's a family ahead. In the water, the family from before.
Yep.
And they fail to see them, and they can't turn. They don't have enough time to turn, and they end up hitting them and killing the father and the son. So right off the bat, 2 kills right there.
Yep.
Oh, sort of kills, deaths, I guess.
Yep. It's I don't think we really see so much of the actual kills, but we see presumably who is the I think the daughter, just the back of her head, and that's pretty much all we see. And I think the dude who's on the shore is like calling up to John, or whatever this is.
Yeah. John. Oh God, but yeah, so it's tragic. We're off to a rough start, but then we cut to 8 years later.
Mm-hmm.
And Angela, who is now 14, played by Felissa Rose,
Mm-hmm.
and Ricky, who is 15, they are cousins, and they're sent to Camp Arawak by Martha, who is like their caretaker mother. I can't.
It's Ricky's mother
and her aunt, right?
And her aunt,
Yeah.
yes.
So she's sending them to camp. And anyway, she telling them, she's like, "Oh, don't tell anyone how you got your signatures for your physicals." The buses, they get to the camp. Yeah, that's shady. Like,
yeah,
what?
she's like, "Well, I am a doctor," and like even like the acting of the girl who plays Aunt Martha is very weird and off-putting. Like, she talks to herself and like asks questions like, "Oh no, that won't do. No, don't tell them that where you got these papers. I mean, they do know I am a doctor."
Yeah.
And it's just like a little weird.
A little loopy.
I understand that it's a movie.
Yeah.
It's a low budget movie. It's very low budget. But putting yourself in the kids' shoes, I mean, yeah, they're kids, and it's Ricky's mother. Wouldn't you think that he would like question, like, why do you talk like that?
Yeah, right.
Why do you just talk out into the air like someone in like space is listening to you? Like,
Yeah.
that would be so off-putting to me, to be honest.
Maybe he's just used to it though too, you know. But
yeah. And even like Angela, who is just the niece, you would think that she would have some sort of questions, but
they don't say anything. They're just they go with the flow. They know she's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then we got to the buses. They're arriving at camp, and you got Artie, who is the cook of the camp. Who's very, very fucking creepy, by the way.
Legit.
It's just
this isn't a word that we say a lot anymore, but he is definitely a pedophile.
Yeah, he's just watching these kids with joy, and just like he's like, "Oh, look at that fresh meat over there," just disgusting.
And like the other thing is, like, he's surrounded by like the other like camp cooks and everything. You would think that they would say something.
Yeah, they're just going along with it though, and they're just like,
yeah, they're like,
classic.
"Oh, yeah, Artie, yeah, oh, yeah, we know you, dude. Yeah, just don't touch him, huh?"
Yeah, right.
Like, okay, it's like they're kind of afraid of him.
He calls them baldies. That's disgusting.
What is, like, this dude?
But
that's so bad.
Yeah. So then you get Ricky. He's introducing Angela to his friend Paul. And he starts showing her around camp. Since he'd gone there, she hasn't. She hasn't left. The house basically, or something like that, since the accident.
Yeah. I don't even think they mentioned if she went to school or not. But
Yeah.
yeah, she's
Which could explain why she's so like quiet and like
cut
not
off by
socialized.
everything,
Yeah. But she also had like that shit happen to her, so.
True.
But yeah, so but she doesn't she's just, again, very quiet. People try to talk to her, she does not say anything.
Nope.
And just backs away. But so, and then Ricky, who tries to hit on a girl named Judy, who is his former girlfriend from the last summer. But she just completely ignores him, and
fuck that girl. Like, just like first impression means everything.
Yeah.
And I understand that they went steady the summer prior, but like, damn, why would you even want to try to talk to this girl knowing like how she talks to other people, and just like even the way that she looks, like I just want to slap her.
I know.
Like I don't condone
up.
like, you know, hitting women or hitting anybody, but like fuck
she
her.
Needs a slap.
Fuck her, man.
But
not literally, but yeah, fuck her.
Yeah, so Angela, she gets bullied because she's quiet and introverted and just shy. You know, I feel that.
Understandable.
You know, I was always shy. I'm still a shy person, but
oh, we know it.
So, but yeah, so she gets bullied by Judy, mostly, and one of the counselors, Meg, and goes So
make sure you guys are counting those ums.
Yeah, right.
I want to see a tally. We'll make a compilation of all the ums if you guys do it.
So here we go again. They're at the mess hall, and Angela, who hasn't eaten anything since she's been there,
like about 3 days, I believe,
something like that. And Ronnie, who's the head counselor, he takes her into the back of the kitchen to see if there's anything she likes to eat in there. But she leaves her alone with Artie, the fucking creep. So he backs her into like a corner and just starts like unbuttoning his pants, and it's fucking creepy. It's just
fucking creeper.
Yeah, it's hard to watch, honestly. Well,
it is. It's for how like short it is. It definitely is. It's very unsettling and uncomfortable.
It is. Yeah.
Especially if you're if you're putting yourself in Angela's shoes right now, who's so closed off, doesn't talk to anybody, and
then you're about to be
trying to get food or whatever, just looking around.
Not even like he just like dragged her back there basically.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, and by the way, here's my dick. God
off,
damn,
Artie.
man.
Fucking pervert. So, but then he's intending on raping her, of course. I hate that word, but it's
Me
just,
too, but unfortunately that's something
happens.
that is kind of brought up in this movie.
Yeah. So Ricky comes in just in time while he's about to pull his dick out, and he calls him out. He's like, "What the fuck are you doing? What's going on here?" And so he runs from the kitchen. He grabs Ricky, and he's like slamming him up against the wall. He's like, "You didn't see anything." So, and then he just leaves, and they dip. So after they get threatened, he's cooking corn.
Yes,
That's what it
and
was.
honestly, the biggest fucking pot I have ever seen. It's like from the table to like
it's gonna be a
up
couple.
here.
It's at least like 5 feet fucking tall.
Yeah, like
he needs
do
a
they
step
even-
ladder to get to it.
Do they even make pots like that? I've never seen a pot that big. I wonder if this is like custom made
It could
just
be
for the
for
film.
camp, or for the movie.
Yeah,
Well, the finale.
Something. Oh yeah, all the fireworks going off. Sorry, guys.
So, yeah, he's cooking corn in the biggest fucking pot in the world, and ends up getting knocked over and having boiling water poured all over him.
Great effects. I
Oh,
like
it's so realistic.
for how low budget this film is. Literally, the effects in this movie are so good. Besides, like a couple of them, you can definitely tell it's like, wow, that's kind of cheaply done.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this first one, even though it's not technically a kill, because he does get carried off to
So
the
like the
hospital.
hospital, yeah.
But severe burns and how like it is, and like it kind of like burns pulsate a little bit and like expand out, and it's so detailed. It's
I know.
amazing.
But yeah, so and they end up just calling it an accident, and the owner calls it an accident, and he just pays off the rest of the kitchen staff as if nothing happened, and
Just don't tell the kids, man. And even the doctor was even saying like he doesn't have a strong enough sedative to like help with the pain that Artie's going through right now, and like how like everything is just melting.
oh, I know, just
like,
having your skin literally fucking.
And how like his eyes might have been like burned and everything. It's crazy. Like just I've been burned pretty bad, like in small parts of like my skin and everything, and especially on my hands from working with food. Just imagine that
Boiling water
all over your face and body, and you're just covered in like blisters and. Ugh.
I don't even want to think about it.
Ugh.
Steam burns are bad enough.
Yep, I've got a pretty gnarly grease burn on one of my hands somewhere that was very, very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And those are bad grease burns.
Yeah, so we cut to the next day though, and you got Ricky, Paul, and the rest of the boys. They're hanging out in their cabin. Sorry again, Puppet Master.
Poor Blade.
That's named Blade.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're just goofing around. They're playing in the cabin. They're playing baseball. And like this is the older kids, the older boys, like the counselors.
Older boys,
yeah, they're all playing baseball. And then you got Kenny, who's talking with Mike about how to get back at Ricky. But yeah, later that night in the cabin during a dance, Angela, she comes, she's not confronted, but like, you know, Kenny comes up to her, and Mike and Kenny, and they start making fun of her for not talking. They start bullying her, and so Ricky comes to the rescue again, and they end up fighting, and it just turns into a fucking brawl at this point. It's just they're all in, so that's how their way of getting back at Ricky.
It's. I think they're even like talking about prior about like going skinny dipping, and they're like talking to Angela like, "Hey, do you want to go skinny dipping?"
Yep,
and
that's right.
all this other stuff, and it's just like
being weirdos.
And she's just so dead. Well, not really dead, but she's just stares.
So straight faced, yeah.
Just stares, no emotions, just looks at you. So I guess you can kind of consider.
Just kind of glares,
dead.
yeah. Yeah, and then that fight gets broken up by a counselor. And sorry. And then they all end up leaving while Paul stays behind and becomes friends with Angela. He starts telling her about, like, you know, telling her stories and, like, you know, stuff and situations they find themselves in when they were younger.
Yep.
And she still won't say a word to him, though. She's just silent the whole time. But he starts to walk away, and she speaks, and she says goodnight.
For the first time, this is 31 minutes in until we hear her say one thing. So this is a hour and like 24 minutes. So that's a pretty big chunk of a movie.
Yeah, without saying a word. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you good?
Starting to yawn. I hate when that happens.
Yawn count.
Then we, yeah, I know, right? Then we cut to the older boys with I think, the older girls and some of the counselors, I believe, they're going to go skinny dipping. And one of the other boys who didn't go with all the other boys who stripped down and went skinny dipping
together at that.
Yeah. He asks a girl named Leslie to go on a boat, and he's like, "Oh, I won't do anything." So they go on like a little canoe. They go. I don't know how far, but they go pretty far. Yeah. And then he starts being an asshole and starts rocking the canoe and tips it over. And she gets pissed and swims away. And Kenny goes underneath the canoe and just starts talking and like being creepy and shit. It's like he's going like Leslie, and then he sees someone swimming underneath, and he thinks it's her, and then all we get is like the back of someone's head who looks like a dude.
Yeah.
And just kills him. I think he gets killed off screen, but we see what remains of him the next day. And the lifeguard, I guess he's the lifeguard because he's the only person who's dressed as like a lifeguard there, and he's pissed because like
they left a mess in his lake.
Yeah, they left chairs and shit there, and there's a canoe tipped over, and he sees it. He goes over there, and he realizes it's Kenny, and it's a pretty bad effect. This is like one of the bad ones, just because of how low budget this movie really was, but it's still pretty good. It's shocking seeing him like drowned and shit. Yeah, and Mel has to talk to a cop and says, well, he just drowned. He must have got scared and, I don't know, tipped over and drowned or whatever. And the cop doesn't really buy it, but he does. And he's like, I'm just going to get an autopsy just to make sure. And he's like, well, we got to keep this kind of quiet. And he's like, I got to go tell the parents now that their son's dead. And then we get a little other conversation with Ronnie, who's talking to the cop also, because the cop's like, oh, I know you were trying to say something while like Mel was talking over you. He's like, yeah, I remember that Kenny was a pretty damn good swimmer. And that's pretty much all he says to the cop, and the cop's like, oh, all right. And then we cut to a volleyball game with the younger girls, with the counselors, and once again, Angela's not really doing anything. She's sitting on the sidelines, kind of watching it. And Paul goes over and asks her on a date. And it's not really a date because they're having a movie night, but he's like, well, I want to go with you. So it's a date.
Yeah.
They're kids, you know, it's a date.
Yeah.
And Judy, you can tell she's getting jealous from all the attention that Angela's getting from Paul. And tells Meg, who is one of the camp counselors, is like, why is she not playing? Why can't she just sit out and we have to be over doing all this other stuff? And Meg is like, you know what? You're right. And goes over there and just starts yelling at Angela. And then the other female counselor named Susie, who is more like the level-headed and kind one, goes over and talks to Angela and tells Meg to pretty much go fly a fucking kite. And like, Meg is such a bitch. Judy's a bitch. I don't really like calling, women bitches, but
they're bitches.
They're bitches. They really are. They're assholes, and they don't care about anybody but themselves. And we cut to the movie night, and it's everybody walking out of the hall that they were showing, whatever movie they were showing. I don't know what they were showing. And Paul and Angela walk back, and Paul's like, I'm gonna walk you home. So he walks her home. They get there, and he's like, well, I want to show you something. So they go around the house, and he kisses her, and you can tell that she's just not into it. She doesn't want that, kind of wants it slower, and it's like the second. Well, it's the first date they're on, but it's like the second day they were really talking.
Yeah.
So he's kind of rushing it, and I don't blame her for
being uncomfortable.
Yeah. And he goes in for a second one, which is like, dude, no. She's already uncomfortable. And I get the boys like to play planks.
Planks.
Wow, they like to play planks. Play pranks on one of the other boys named Mozart. They did an early one where he like has to sit up and he puts his face in some kid's ass. But this one, he's sleeping, and they do the old shaving cream in the hand and like tickle him, and he slaps his face and gets shaving cream all over him. But he takes it kind of too far, but not really, because I would probably be really, really pissed at this time too. But he pulls a knife out on Ricky, and then one of the other counselors comes in and takes it away. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? It's like, and he takes it away for like the rest of the time that they are there. And then we get some more Paul and Angela talk. I believe this is when they are sitting over by the water for the first time, when everybody else is swimming. And once again, Judy's being an asshole and goes and tells Meg that she's not doing anything. And Meg comes over, and Paul's like, I'm going to get out of here, and because I don't want to be, pretty much caught in what the hell is going to go on.
Yeah.
So he skedaddles, and then she comes up and starts yelling at Angela, like, "Why aren't you doing anything? Why aren't you talking?" And pretty much like shaking her. And then Ronnie comes over and just yells at Meg. It's like, dude, leave her the fuck alone.
Just let her do her thing.
You know, like, she's not bothering anybody. She doesn't want to participate. I don't know why she has to.
Yeah.
And like, I understand. Like, I was not really at a camp, but I was. There was a thing called Nature in Me. I don't know if you ever did that, Aaron.
I don't think so.
As a kid in school, you'd go away for like a weekend or so, and you would just do like stuff outside. So we were on a camp, but it wasn't like this kind of camp, and you like learned about things, which was really fun. I really liked Nature in Me. Then we go back to the girls' cabin.
All right.
And once again, Judy
is angry.
Is pissed. And she's like asking, like, after she takes a shower, like, Angela, why don't you take a shower with everybody else? Are you, do you not hit puberty yet, or what's going on? And she just starts getting really pissed off at her and does another famous quote, which is, she says that she's flat as a board and needs a screw. And Susie slaps her, and I love it. I think it's great. I think she should have slapped him more. Susie is obviously upset that she did that, but she deserves it, honestly.
Oh yeah.
Like, saying this was like me or you, and it's flipped. It's not girls, it's boys, and you're doing that. Like, I would want that person to be beat to shit.
Yeah, it would turn into a fight.
Yeah, it would be horrible. And someone who's acting that way and says something like that to somebody deserves to be slapped or punched.
Yeah.
Awful shit, you know?
But, yeah, so, and she's just sitting there silent, too, the whole time still. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, so.
I don't blame her, to be honest. Like, why would you want to talk to these people?
Yeah, why acknowledge that? But later that day, she's walking through camp, and you got a couple of boys playing water balloons, throwing water balloons at each other on a roof. Which, that's not smart, but
no,
it was the 70s, yeah. And they end up hitting Angela in the face with a water balloon. And so she just kind of shuts down and just sits there, just like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah, she's literally just walking, mind her own business, and bam, water balloon to the body.
Yep. So Mel yells at the boys, and then ends up grounding Billy for the rest of the summer. Ricky comes and helps Angela. He's like, "I'll kill him," and he just cusses them out. He's like, "Fuck you, motherfuckers," and just But yeah, so he comes to the rescue again.
Literally the hero of the movie.
Yeah.
I feel anyway.
Yeah, I'd say so.
At least one of the heroes, I would say.
Yeah.
There's like two. I consider Ronnie a hero.
Yeah, he was one of the nicer counselors. One of the nicest, yeah.
I mean, to be honest, Mel is kind of nice too. He's like the owner or whatever of the camp.
Yeah.
Until like later on when he starts getting really pissed off at Ricky.
Yeah.
But Mel's Mel.
Yeah, he's Mel. So, anyway, boys go to play basketball and Billy stays behind. And he goes into to take a dump. Take a fat dump, he says, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
And yeah, wicked dump, that's what it was.
Take a wicked dump. Does anyone even say that, like, wicked anymore?
I do.
Wicked.
It's a Boston thing. Wicked pissa.
Wicked pissa.
So,
yeah, I think I say wicked sometimes, depending on what I'm talking about.
I say it a lot.
So I guess it's still kind of a thing that people say, especially over in New England.
Yeah. But, yeah, so then you get a view of the bathroom stall, and you got a first-person view of somebody putting a broom in the handle to keep it locked so we can't get out. So then the same person comes around, and you see the screen above like the toilet get cut open, and just like a beehive just dropped right into the bathroom.
Dude, like,
I'm petrified of like wasps and shit like that.
You are?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got chased by some earlier.
Today?
Yeah, when I was like going in and out of my house to pack stuff, like there was like these wasps. They must be building a nest under our porch or something, because they kept poking their heads up from the cracks, and then like they would come in at me every time I'd fucking walk by.
Did you tell your
Well, they're in Maine right now, so yeah.
Shit. I would send the cats out there and see what happens.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I've definitely been stung by my fair share of like stuff. So yeah,
It's not fun.
I don't like it, especially when the stinger gets stuck in you. That's happened to me like once, and that sucks because you like pull it out and ugh. And just thinking of this scene of that happening literally hundreds of times is awful.
Yeah, so he ends up like busting through the door and just falling, and you just see him swarmed and covered by bees, and his whole face is just
more great effects.
Oh yeah,
very good effects.
Death by bees.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh man, what a way to go.
Right.
Especially if he was allergic. Then can you imagine that?
I know. But so Mel ends up learning about how Billy's death by bees, and
Death by Bees. That's a good podcast or even band name.
Right.
Death by Bees.
Yeah, Death by Bees. But yeah, so he's worried that the camp's gonna get shut down because this isn't the first instance,
This is what?
3 already, right?
Yeah, because
2.
We had Artie who wasn't dead, and then we got Kenny, and then we got him.
So it's like the third 2.
It's
instance.
The third incident, but the second death. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's worried the camp's gonna have to get shut down. But he also starts to get suspicious of Ricky, who he thinks is killing the people who bullied his cousin.
And his only thought process of this is because Ricky has a potty mouth.
Yeah.
But everybody swears, I mean, very protective of Angela, but I don't think he thinks that. I think it's just because he's so aggressive when things happen, he gets really pissed off.
Yep.
And he knew earlier in the day that he was already pissed off at Billy because of the water balloons.
Mm-hmm.
So I can kind of understand where Mel's coming from, but still, don't just jump to conclusions.
Exactly.
Like, you should at least, I don't know, go talk to him, like, calmly.
Yeah.
And then see what's going on.
Find out the other side of the story, or, see what's going on.
Like, there's so many people on that camp, like...
Yeah, it could be anyone. So, but... Then you got Angela and Paul. He tries to make out with her that night on the beach, and she ends up having a flashback to her and her brother in bed with their father.
Well, it's them looking in the room with the guy that we saw in the beginning who said John.
Oh yeah.
And their father. So they must have been lovers. And like this scene is kind of hard to understand, but I think I can explain it in a way where I can make it understand. So it's Angela, right? I mean, we don't.
It's a weird.
You guys don't know the twist, but when you know the twist, unless you have seen the movie, I don't know. I don't want to say it right now, but I feel like I have to just to explain this.
Yeah.
But it's her brother. And her, well, I'm gonna say her in quotes here. And they're looking at father with said husband or whatever in bed, and then it jumps to her and her brother in another bed, and he's pointing at Angela, and I'm thinking they're pointing at maybe body parts or something.
Yeah.
And it kind of like flashes a couple times, and then the boy like loses his shirt, but still pointing at Angela. Or quote unquote Angela.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm trying to word it in a way where it would make sense, but I think it's
such a strange scene.
Yeah, it's her thinking in her mind back then, or
like flashbacks. Yeah,
I thought I had a good way to explain this, but it's literally just flashbacks of her maybe thinking what's going on right now is what was happening with her dad and
Lenny.
And is that his name?
Yeah.
With Lenny. So I don't know. You have to really watch it to kind of understand it, but if when you watch it, you're still not gonna understand it.
Yeah.
And I failed miserably at trying to explain it to you guys, and I do apologize, but
I think it's just like just them like realizing like what's going on.
Internalizing what's going on.
Yeah. But so, anyways. Paul's trying to get laid. Angela's not having it. Mm-hmm. She pushes him off. She runs away.
Yep.
And then the next day, Paul, he's like upset with her, because she turned him down. He's ends up getting
teenage boys.
I know, right? Horny little bastards.
And they're like really young too. I think they have to be at least like 15, 16.
I know.
You know.
But yeah, so he's upset and ends up getting seduced by Judy, who pulls him away from a game of capture the flag, or as a guy from Dead Meat is called grab ass.
Yeah, grab ass.
Because that's literally what they're
James
doing,
Agenies.
though.
Yeah, literally.
So
Man, I'm trying to think if I've actually ever played that version
flag
of
football.
Yeah.
I used to
don't
play it
think
in
I
like gym
have.
class and stuff.
I think we literally just played like we used to play this really stupid game called Toy Story.
Toy Story.
Do you know what that is?
I don't think so.
Like, all right, so we're gonna be off the rails a little bit right here. I'm gonna go on like a little weird backstory, but in gym, this was like elementary and middle school. We used to play a game called Toy Story, and it would be two people who would play either Woody or Buzz, and they had to be in the middle, and then on either side of the gym, people had to run back and forth, and if I think Buzz touched somebody, they had to go to jail, and then Woody had to somehow go and get them out of jail. It was like the weirdest
kind of
game
like tag.
ever. Yeah, it's such a weird version of tag, but we used to call it Toy Story. So if there's anybody out there who's listening or watching and you guys have played this game called Toy Story or version of it, please let me know because I want to make sure I'm not fucking crazy.
Yeah, I never played it, but remember that big parachute shit when everybody would run under? And
Yep. Yep. We used to do that a lot too.
All the little carts, the knee boards.
Oh yes. Oh my god. Flashbacks to like when I was 10.
Elementary school.
I'm old.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so Judy ends up getting pulling Paul away from a game, and ends up in the woods. Oh wait, hold on, my bad. I skipped on the line.
Sorry.
Yeah, so she ends up pulling away from a game, and then you got Angela and Ricky in the woods. Who were talking about Paul and what he was trying to do with Angela, and then Ricky, he says not to trust him, but she reminds him that he's just a friend, and they both end up finding Paul and Judy kissing, which makes Angela run off. And then a little bit later, yeah, I mean I'd be a little upset too, but yeah. So then he ends up feeling guilty, and goes up to Angela to try and explain himself. And while they're on the beach, this time she does not want to talk to him.
Nope. Yeah, back at the bench on the beach that this is the second time we're visiting there, I believe.
Yep. So.
Holy mother of God.
Wow.
People are really fucking loud. Sorry about that, guys. That probably blew your eardrums.
But yeah, sorry, headphone users.
R.I.P.
Later that day, though, he tries to talk to Angela again, and ends up getting shooed away by Judy and Meg, who pick up Angela and they tell her, we're gonna throw you in the water, and they're dragging her away. And if you haven't picked up on it yet, somehow she's not, she doesn't do well with water. She does not like.
And you can't do that shit.
It's a very irrational fear too.
People. There are a lot of people who don't know how to swim. There are people who
like
are
me.
afraid of drowning. You don't know how to swim?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, Aaron, I gotta teach you how to swim.
Courtney's trying.
So you can't just, especially if you're a camp counselor, right? You can't do that shit.
No.
You can't just throw someone in the water just because they're not doing something, or if you're mad at them, they could literally die. And I feel like if Meg killed her, I think Meg would probably be upset. Judy, I think, would not care at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't do that shit. So don't be dicks, people. I don't care who you are or who you're mad at. Don't throw someone in the fucking water, and don't throw them in a fire.
Yeah, right.
There you go.
No fire or water.
No fire and water. So, unless they're on fire, then throw them in the water, but make sure they're okay.
Exactly. But yeah, so they throw her into the water, and Ricky catches wind of this. They get her out of the water. The lifeguard and Mel, I think it is, they pull her out, and then Ricky comes up to comfort her, and he ends up swearing vengeance. But
I love Ricky. He's such
I know.
So good. Like, even the actor is really, really good.
Mm-hmm. But so that evening, Meg, who has a date with Mel, she's getting ready. She's in the shower.
Also, like, creeper alert. Like, she's probably, I don't know if she's 18,
Yeah.
but she's probably close to it.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, seriously, you're gonna go. Oh, sorry. Ugh. You're gonna go on and see this old dude who looks like he's probably in his late 50s, early 60s
Yeah, I
at
know.
least, and it's like, okay, unless she's trying to, I don't know, get more money, or I don't know
Yeah, right.
if they're paid or whatnot. But
Yeah, but she's in the shower doing her thing, and then ends up impaled through the shower wall.
yeah,
with
this
a
is
knife.
also a pretty good kill.
Yeah, and just like it's kind of slow too. It just like,
Oh yeah, definitely painful.
but the knife just like drags down her back, and then you got another first person view of the killer rinsing off their tool and turning off the shower.
Yep. Gotta save that water.
Yeah, right. So then she and nobody realizes
No,
until
she's next door.
yeah, and things are just going on as usual, and there's a social being held, and Angela she is approached by Paul, who tries to apologize for trying to have sex with her, make out with her, whatever his intentions were.
Yep.
And with Judy and all that and the water so anyway, she ends up telling Paul to meet her later that night at the waterfront after the social.
And it's right here, guys. Meet me at the waterfront after the social.
So
great.
But yeah. Oh, and the part about the whole water scene too, like when they were pulling her out, the kids were all throwing sand at her and shit.
Oh yeah, that's the thing that I always like forget that happens, because there's a scene later on that happens as well, and if you don't catch on what was going on during the water and kind of connecting why these kids are, I was gonna say it, dead, then you're gonna miss it.
Yeah, but so. Anyways, you got 6 young children, the ones who were throwing sand at Angela earlier in the day. They're taking camping with a counselor named Eddie, and then 2 of them ask if they can go back because they feel sick. Eddie takes them back to his car and drives them back to camp, and just leaves the rest of the kids by themselves.
Yeah, the reason why he did that though is because they were sleeping, so he probably didn't want to wake them up, which is understandable.
Yeah.
Because the kids were cold and they wanted to go back. But I mean, if those kids are peaceful and you know you're going to be right back, I guess it's okay. But at the same time, it's kind of not. It's one of those, like, should I do it, should I not do it moments. But like he was sleeping, so his reaction right now is obviously just the first thing that he thinks of. He's not really thinking. But,
yeah, true.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he comes back and he finds the other 4 kids in their sleeping bags, chopped up in the little pieces.
God.
With his own axe too.
Yeah, like holy shit, like
just covered in blood.
I can't imagine walking into something like that.
Right, just little kids just like hacked up.
Like there's already been like some really bad kills, but I mean when it's like little kids that are being killed, regardless of the way that they're killed, it's always very traumatizing.
Oh yeah.
And like I say all the time, I am a father, so like me just thinking like that was my son it's heartbreaking.
Oh yeah. So but meanwhile, you got Mike and Judy. They're making out, and he ends up hiding when Mel comes to ask where Meg is. And when he leaves, he decides that he'd better get out of there. And he ends up finding Meg's dead body in the shower, and just assumes that Ricky killed her to get back at him. Or yeah.
Yeah, that's his whole mindset. Is it was him.
It was Ricky.
He knew that we were gonna be together, and he killed her. And then he like promises like, yeah, I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him, and I'm gonna make it right.
Fucking Mel.
And then we get another really good death scene here too. During all of this is now Judy is alone because Mike, who she was making out with, left because he's like, I don't want to be caught again. he wasn't really caught, but like he doesn't want a chance. And she's like, well, Mel's not gonna come back. Like he's gonna go away. He's like, well, I'm just gonna leave. So he leaves, leaves the lights off, and I think she's just laying down. I think she might be doing something with her hair, but I don't remember.
Yeah, like curling it or something.
Yeah, she's curling it. She got the curling iron, and then someone walks up, and then all you hear is her look up and say, "Oh, it's you. What do you want?" And then the person, because we have only like a POV angle, like puts a pillow on her head, obviously
like
muffle the noise,
yeah.
and it gets the curling iron, and we don't really see what happens, but
It's
what's
insinuated.
happening is that she takes the curling iron and then just jabs it into her fucking vagina, dude. And then clamps down, and you even see like her hands like go up like this, and all you see is shadows, but it's like
you know what's going on. It's
holy fuck, dude. It's a good kill. I kind of wish you saw from an angle what was actually going on so we can confirm that was happening, but I mean, you kind of can confirm that's what was happening, you know what I mean? But damn, what a fucking way to die. Out of bees, being badly burned to maybe the point of death, to being drowned, then getting your back slit open, and then curling iron. Ugh.
Wow.
Oh, and also all the kids being slaughtered, like, damn.
I mean, I still think it's Ricky.
Yeah, and that's when we also get to reveal that Eddie finds all the dead kids, which really sucks.
Yeah.
Ronnie is told by Eddie that all the kids are dead, and he's like, okay, well, we're gonna call cops. And then Mel is pretty much nowhere to be found because he's on the run to get Ricky. He finds Ricky, slaps the fucking shit out of him, and then starts beating the hell out of him. Like, oh my god, you're not even talking to the kid. He just
beating the shit out of him.
Yeah, and Ricky was just going to get food, and he was coming back, and he was eating like a bar, and just killed. And then we don't know if Ricky's actually dead, but we know he was beaten severely. Mel walks off because he thinks he's done it, and he makes his way over to the archery, and all the lights turn on, and he looks over, he says, "Oh, it can't be you." And then arrow into the neck, which is also a very good effect because it's so like seamless.
Mm-hmm.
And I love, like, this is one thing I really like about horror movies or anything that has like special effects like this, is just how great things look.
Yeah.
And what you can do on screen and what you can do anywhere. Like, I want to be able to learn to do things like this, but I know I'm not like artistically inclined for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I could do something.
That would be, it'd be fun just to like make props and stuff for these types of movies, you know?
Oh yeah, definitely.
But
and then the cop shows up, and they're like trying to get everybody who is not missing to stay in their bunks, and then to go off into separate groups because some of the counselors go with other counselors to go find the people who are missing. Who is Angela, Paul, Judy, because they haven't found Judy's dead body yet.
Yep.
Mel, Ricky, and I think that's pretty much it. So they go and find all of them, and now Paul is going with Angela to the waterfront, and Angela says that they need to go swimming, and he's like, I don't have a swimsuit, and she just says, take off your clothes. So it's like, oh, okay, I guess she's coming around, I guess.
He's like, I ain't gonna complain.
Yeah, and then we cut away to the cop finding Ricky, who is still alive but badly beaten. And then also all the other dead bodies start turning up, like Judy. They actually find Meg. I think they find Mel as well. And then we have Ronnie and Susie trying to find the other ones, who is Paul and Angela. And they start hearing singing. And Ronnie's like, what is that? What's that noise? And she's like, I don't know. So they walk over to the waterfront, and we see Angela naked, just the back shot of her, who is holding Paul's head and body. Like, he's laying down and she's singing and like petting,
stroking his head.
or whatever, and then they say I think they say something, I don't know, but he says, oh, I think he says, "Oh my God," or something like that, and Angelus stands up and is going like, he holding the head and a knife. No, not the head. I think she just has her mouth open.
Yeah, it's just this big grin. Just...
Yeah, Felissa Rose. I mean, they had to do a mask, and then there was actually like the picture of Felissa with her mouth wide open. That's like the most famous thing you see.
She
of
actually
her
took
doing.
that picture with us.
Yeah, we have it somewhere.
I'll have to look later.
But yeah, I actually didn't get any facts for this. I meant to get them today, but I honestly totally forgot. So if there's anything you want to pull up, because that is the ending of the movie, you get left on that shock screen.
Yeah, and it is revealed that she is, in fact, a boy, and
yes,
possibly
exactly.
Peter, her brother, who was killed.
Yes. Oh yeah, we didn't talk about that scene, the flashback of So go watch the movie.
Yeah.
Like, especially if you haven't seen the movie. I'm sorry that we spoiled that for you, but yes, the ending is definitely.
There's gonna be spoilers in our podcast.
Yes, we should. I don't know. Should we put that as a disclaimer? I think if you're going into listening to a horror podcast about movies, you're gonna get spoilers.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll just leave that disclaimer out. So I will apologize, but I'm not sorry.
So I got a couple of trivia facts here.
Shoot 'em.
So Willie Cuskin, who plays one of the bullied camp boys, was genuinely bullied during the filming.
Really?
Yeah, and Frank Trent Saladino, who played one of the camp counselors, had to step in when the other members took things too far.
I mean, they were working with kids.
Yeah, so I mean, it's bound to happen.
Yeah, and it's very low budget, so I can't imagine there was a lot of I'm not gonna say security, but like parental advisory and everything on set.
Yeah.
All the time. So
and it's
I
a
can
horror
understand
movie,
that.
so
Yeah.
and then the director, Robert Hiltzik, as a child actually went to the camp that they used in the movie.
Yep, I do remember that. And another thing I do remember is the actor who was playing Mel, I think, was actually dying of cancer during this and actually passed away after.
Oh, really?
It was
I feel like you told me that.
Yeah, so he actually passed away after the movie was done. So
yeah, it says right here too.
So I think it's cancer, right?
Lung cancer, yeah.
Lung cancer.
83.
You know, he was smoking a freaking cigar during this, but I mean, like, live your best life, you know?
Yeah, right. Yeah, 3 months before the film came out.
Yep.
Damn.
That sucks. He did a really good job, I think. I liked him. I wonder if he did any other movies. Might have to look it up on my own time. Unless you guys out there listening and watching know. Let me know.
Felissa Rose and Jonathan Tiersten developed a romance during filming, but broke up soon after. He was 17 and she was 13 at the time.
I do remember her talking about that too on a show or something, maybe with Joe Bob, because he did cover this and she was on there. I'm gonna actually go rewatch that episode because that was a really good one.
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, there's nothing too exciting here, but
yeah, I want to jump to the Rotten Tomatoes. I guess we can do that. Just a little bit of fun facts and stuff for you guys. But
all right, Rotten Tomatoes. What's your guess for the critic score and a tomato meter?
Critic score. It's a campy movie. It's very campy.
83, rated R.
Shock ending. I'm gonna lowball this one. I'm gonna say it's like 33.
Yeah, 77.
Wow. Okay, I'm very happy that people actually enjoy this movie. I'm always afraid to go that low with critics because sometimes they surprise me, like this one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, I would definitely. I'm not gonna rate it as high as we did with Jaws. Or pretty much, I think. What did we give Tourist Trap 7.5?
I think so.
As much as I love this movie, I like it just because of the campiness. I'm gonna go really low with it. I don't want you guys to hate me. I'm gonna go with a 6.5. Just because it is low budget. The kills were really good. Writing was a little weird at times.
Yeah.
The acting was really good, but
it touches on some weird subjects that most
like pedophilia and stuff like that.
That most people won't go near, you know.
Yeah. 6.5 is what I'm gonna have. I probably should put it higher, but I usually go a little harsh on movies. So yeah, that's my rating.
You're not as nice as I am. I'm gonna on my end I'm gonna give it a 7.
Okay.
Because it's one of the first I don't know, I don't know if I say first, but It just stuck out though, you know.
Yeah, I remember. I watched this with you
for the first time.
I think we actually watched this off the box set.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you being like super shocked at the end.
Yeah, it was.
And, so that's definitely a fun memory.
Yeah, if you like twists though, you'll enjoy this
Yes.
movie. It's a little fucked up, but what horror movie
it's
isn't?
super enjoyable. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, regardless of the rating I gave it, I still really, really like this movie. I do go back to it pretty periodically just because it is really fun.
Mm-hmm.
The other movies, besides when Felissa actually came back for a Sleepaway Camp movie, I would rate them way lower. I would probably give them all 3s across the board, to be honest.
Yeah.
But they are still stuff you should check out.
But yeah. And the audience score is 60%, by the way.
Okay. So they're pretty much right where I am.
Yeah.
6.5. That's understandable. I understand.
It is an enjoyable movie, though. I do recommend checking it out.
Yes, especially if you guys like campy movies, low budget films, slashers.
Creative kills.
This is a slasher. I mean, there's a body count. Whenever there's a body count, it's usually a slasher, unless they say otherwise.
Yeah. But
I think that's probably all that we have for this episode. We don't really have anything new coming out as of yet that we can announce. Just make sure you guys are staying in touch with our socials, and
you know as soon as we do what's happening next.
Yep. And once again, thank you guys so much for being here. And this was the Barron's Hideout podcast. I was your host, Dustin.
And I was your host, Aaron.
And come listen
if you dare.